Hey, and welcome to Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Again. And there's going to be a few more agains. Now that I'm back to making videos, and back to work, and making other videos too. I've been working on this particular video for 4 months. Unfortunately, halfway through I found out I had surgery again, and it made me postpone working on a lot of things for about a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. I am 90% better, and I'm glad to be back to making content and making things. This video is the sins of saints and sinners. Ominous. But it's just the out of bounds, the tricks, the glitches, anything unique that the game has to offer. The video is going to be broken up into maps, or chapters, if you will. And each map, if it has one of these categories that I'm about to explain, you will see it. There'll be a little title card and everything. The categories are out of bounds, so if you can get out of bounds in a map, I will show you how to do that. Another category is called rooftops, because a lot of the maps have something you can climb up and get on top of roofs, and it may not seem like a lot, but it's some pretty interesting things and some beautiful landscapes to check out. Miscellaneous will just be anything kind of unique, any kind of strange or kind of quirky thing that you can find in the maps. Not all of them, but just some that are worth mentioning. And the other categories will be glitches and softlocks. Not everyone will have them either. So, without further ado, I hope you like it, and I hope the work I put into it is clear. Enjoy your guys' selves. And, of course, if you have the game, please try some of these out-of-bounds stuff and these glitches. It's just a lot of fun. Alright, enjoy. So this is the tutorial zone. There's a couple of places to check out here. The first one is you have to get out of bounds, and doing so you have to use the tutorial climb. There's going to be 2 main grabs. First you have to get on top of the table. When you do that, there's going to be the blue tarp is going to have a box on top. You have to kind of put both hands on the corner of that box. When you pull up, you'll land on top of the white board. And you'll turn all the way around, and there'll be a big invisible box. On the very top of the box, the invisible box, you're going to grab where both points meet, one in the front and one in the right. And then as you're about to kind of fall off the right, you're going to look down at the zombies and push your hand down, and it's going to launch you up and land on top of the invisible box. Then after you do that, you're going to turn around towards the wall, or towards the roof. There's going to be another invisible box there. You just reach your hand up, grab it, push up, and then reach for the roof, and you're out of bounds. For the left side, you'll see 3 main things there. I mean, please do these out of bounds to take a look, but for the video, you're going to see 3 main things. You're going to see where the bunch of gray rectangles are, and they all meet up to make a box, and in that box is most likely the tutorial zone. That's why the walls are so thick you can't get through them. The gray rectangles are usually meant to keep players out of areas. And they're usually underground, so you can't see them. There's going to be a little building you can walk into, and there's going to be a painting of Poseidon that's in another level. I guess they use this as a test for it, or they just use the building from that level to put here. And then of course when you drop infinitely. The right side is going to have a couple of buildings to check out. When you walk across, there's actually an invisible box behind the roof a little bit you can walk on, because if they didn't put that there, then most likely you could phase through where the 3 walkers are. All the roofs you can walk on, they have collision. You can see in the area where they have the axe walkers, and you can even see across the way, and you'll see where the 2 trucks are on top of the roof. And then the one area that you can kind of see in the ground, that is a softlock zone. You are stuck there, but still, it's just fun to look around. To get across the building, or even to the ground, you have to drop off the roof onto the truck. Then when you get the truck, you can climb over the roof, and you can take a look around there. When you're on the roof, you'll notice that the other side of the roof is missing a top, but it's actually not. So it's whatever angle you're looking at, or whatever direction you're at, or if you're even in the building, that one building just changes textures. It's super interesting. And I'm going to walk around a little bit and show you some of the rooftops on the other side. But what's also interesting is that where the 2 roofs meet is actually a area where the sound cuts out a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why. I have a theory involving the load zone, but you know. When you're done on top of the roof, I said earlier, you jump down top of the truck and then onto the ground. Sometimes if you drop off the roof, you just die, so it's best to not risk that. The building, when you first drop down, is on the right. It's super cool to look through. Some of the buildings are almost complete, and I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be used for something, but didn't get used. And then the building that you saw on the roof that had no roof, you'll see me walk through it, and when you're in it, it looks like all the textures there, but it's not. It even has stairs you can climb up and everything. The building with the stairs and the one that you saw through even has a way to get into the area where you grab the gun for the first time. But when you're all finished checking out the area, when you jump down and out, you might think you have to restart the level, or just jump in the infinite void forever. You actually don't have to. See, the warehouse where you pass the tutorial guy actually is just an entire load zone for the boat into the graveyard. And on the back side of the warehouse, there's actually still a load zone. So you can hit it and go. For this miscellaneous thing, there's only one in tutorial that I have found that's worth mentioning, or it might not even be worth mentioning, but it's still something strange. If you've been down in real life, you can actually grab the floor in the tutorial part where you actually pick up the weapons and put them back in your pockets and things like that, and you can crawl around. It doesn't do a whole lot. I tried to go as far as I could. You can go to the front where you see the cutout of the cutout of the guy and the text. You can't do anything with it. But what you can do is you can place your hands on the ground, and as the game loads into the main area, your hands will be missing. And when you get to the new area, you will still not see your hands because they're stuck in that area. And then when you push off the ground, you fly. It doesn't do anything, but you fly. I'm going to give you a heads up. We are going to be in the graveyard for a while. There's just a ton of things in this place. They meant it to be a hub you can be at forever. And obviously they intended to return here a lot. as you do in the game. So here is the infamous tree grab. There was one originally that I had found, the very first one, but they patched that, and someone else had found this, so whoever did, much appreciated. It's not too tricky, but it is very broken. You have to grab the tree at a particular point. There's a couple places you can grab, but as you watch, I show with my hands where I usually grab, which makes it, for me, the easiest to get up. And when you get up, there's going to be a little invisible floor you're on, and then there's going to be some leaves, and you're going to grab the leaves and push up as well, and that will prepare you to actually leave out of bounds. When you do that, when you're on top of the tree, you're going to run towards the endless void, and you're going to drop off into an area that you would normally get stuck in. But what's surprising is that they didn't put any texture on the wall. So as long as you crouch and put both hands on the wall, you'll actually pull yourself through the wall. You cannot walk on the other side, so you have to crawl everywhere. You'll see a few places as I look around, and then you just crawl to the endless void and you drop, and you get to walk around under the map for a while. It's going to fast forward a little bit to a couple areas, and I'm going to speed up to the reserve that everybody, is so desperate to get and is excited to check out. So. The goal underground is to find the church area, obviously the one that you run through at the end. You'll find lights under the church itself, and when you do, that's where you want to go to get into the reserve. Now there's another way, but that's for speedrunning, and that's another video. This is just the easiest way. And when you get there, you'll go to the far left where the brightest lights are, and you grab the wall and you just pull yourself in. You can't get back out, but you are in the reserve, and you can check out the church. Later on, you'll get to see the church when you get there too early, or when you're in there when it's locked. You can check out Casey's room, and you can check out the armory. It's pretty cool. When you want to go out of bounds but not under the map, it's pretty easy. It's the same way as you would go out of bounds, but instead of going straight down into the void, you turn right. Now you're going to kind of walk a little bit and crawl around a little bit until you get to what is a visible wall. And then, because Walking Dead and its climbing is broken, you just kind of slide in between the tombs and you reach your hand out and you pull yourself through the tombs about 3 to 4 grabs, and then you're out. Now this area of the game I've sped up because it's just a lot of walking and a lot of traveling. But it is the most extra place you can check out, and I intend to do another video taking a hike through them all. So if you're interested in seeing what almost every detail that you can find in these areas, look out for that. It'll probably be out much sooner than this one was. But sit back and enjoy the ride on how to get to the actual church. Not out of bounds, but still out of bounds. Now that you've made it to the end, all you have to do is jump down into the river. You can walk on the river, and there's the boat. They didn't put an invisible wall blocking the boat. You just hop in the boat, and the level's over, taking you to the aftershocks. But there is a couple places you can look at circling the church, and you'll get all the way. You can get all the way to the end, and even to the right of the church, and you'll see a truck. But the bridge doesn't have any collision, so you just drop directly into the water. To get into the church after it's either locked when the game's over or in the first day or two of the game, it's only on this shed. You actually have to grab the corner and on your tippy toes, for me at least, and on the other corner there. When you grab one inside and outside and pull yourself up, you will launch yourself up. Now, you have to get the right angle and everything, but you very much will get on top of the roof. Now, in the church, if it's not day one, it actually just acts like any other level. There's zombies, you can walk around. Now, another cool thing you can do is, because it's all locked off on the inside, you can't actually get back in. You have to actually climb up and out. So to do that, as you're already seen, you have to climb up the pipe. You can't be crouched. Sometimes when you go in the window, you get stuck there. And you have to pull yourself up. Then you hop down these trucks. You jump down onto the table. You kind of keep an eye on where you're walking. Now don't run, because you'll fall into a truck and you get soft locked. Then you climb onto the church, and you climb up and out. Oh, up and over, sorry. And when you go over to the other side of the church, there's a lot of soft locks, so you have to be very careful how you walk. And if you're curious, yes, the pipe that gets you into the church, you can also climb up and get back on the rooftop. When you get back into the church, there's almost nothing in there. There's a few items that are preset, like the hat. But when you're in there, there's no KC's machine that lets you pick armory or KC and flood the place. There's no door blocking the way into the kitchen area. There's no planks blocking anything else. And you can just walk through. You'll see there's no doors or windows yet. And you can walk down to the reserve from there too. For these next parts, you'll see a bunch of miscellaneous things that you can do, and some I'm not going to comment too much on because they're pretty straightforward, and some are just strange things to see. This one you can climb out and around. You have to look at the direction where you want to push up on top of the mausoleum, but you can climb up there and go to the tombs. You can even do that during aftershocks when there's a bunch of walkers and stuff, and you can bypass most by jumping, or you can throw bombs and kill them much easier. This tomb jump, you have to use the cross to get up a little higher, and then when you're up a little higher, you jump over. There might be a way out of bounds from there, but I didn't find anything too useful. But it's still pretty interesting. the bus climb. I had spent way too much time figuring it out, but it was interesting to find, and it takes a couple of pulls on top of the door to get up there, but once you're up there, it's pretty straightforward to get out. You just climb up, and you climb on the invisible box, and once you get about 3 or 4 hands climbing up, you can pull yourself up, and you're on top. You would think you could just jump out and go, but you can't. There's too many invisible walls blocking your path, and for the rest of this miscellaneous part of the church walk, you'll see a few ways to get around, all the way around the graveyard on top of them. And there are some Softlock spots, so keep an eye on the video if you wanted to be able to walk around, and wherever I'm grabbing on top of the certain tombs. The walls on top of the graveyard makes it impossible to get into the tomb where you drop things off for May, because if you could get in there, or whoever speedruns it, you probably could bypass a couple of extra levels, but when you go underground, you can see that it's not possible to be able to do so. And when you're on top of the bus, you can even go to the flagpole. It doesn't really do anything either, but I still thought I'd show it off, just in case you like exploring like I do. This part is objectively silly, but I had to watch it go, so I actually sat and watched the whole thing, but for you guys it will be very fast. It didn't take too long, but long enough, and I followed him the whole way just to see where he'd end up. I called him Julio, and at the very end he actually just restarts. I was so comforted to see him again. I thought I lost him forever. Now the next couple of miscellaneous things are going to go very quickly, and I'm pretty sure they are self-explanatory, so hopefully you enjoy seeing a few quirky things that the game has to show. Oh, by the way, my absolute favorite tiny thing in the game, the floating door. Ooh. Now this next one is actually really interesting because it changes the kind of vibe of the game. The trigger to make the zombies aggressive is not pre-built into their AI. It's actually just for the opening level. It's when you pull yourself into the mausoleum, like you jump into it, that hits the trigger. If you do not, all the zombies in the area will not harm you. And this goes even further to say if you go back into the church on this day by going the out of bounds route, not under the map, they won't harm you. They don't bite you or anything. They just run around and sometimes they teleport. It's just super cool to see that. And if you can stomach it or not be too surprised or scared, you can get them right up in your face. There's a good reason why the audio is muted because I would be crying. And I was. Don't tell anybody. Please. Now this one really isn't a glitch or anything like that specific, but if you don't know it, this is still pretty interesting. The game does intend, if you don't kill Henri when he's hanging upside down, he just shows up as a zombie in the base. And in Aftershocks, if he still survives and when the people come to steal, more show up. And the kicker is they actually stay until the next day. But when you leave the next map, it's gone. They're gone. And unfortunately, I had discovered that in the burgled level in Aftershocks, he can actually die not by your hands. And they'll run away after killing him. I had a very dramatic Oscar-winning scene with him. And he can actually kill one of the humans, and it's fantastic. This is the teleport glitch. It's no practical use, it's just a strange glitch. It's complicated and tedious. So when you finish the level, you take the boat, you skip the screen where the credits roll. Then you run out of bounds, you finish level again, there's no boat, so you'll just stand there. And when the credits start to roll, you press the skip credit screen. Then you run back and finish level again, but you have to crouch physically in real life under the tree. When you do that, the music will be playing in the game while you're playing it. Then you can go anywhere in the graveyard as long as you physically crouch in real life. And when you press the crouch button, which is also the skip button, you then teleport right back to the bus. The first of the levels, not the graveyard, is via Carolla. Just like the church climb, if you actually do the exact same thing that you would get back into the church and via Carolla at this shed, you actually launch yourself on top of this. Now, the next grab is a little bit tricky. You have to actually find it, and sometimes it's pretty tricky to get it right. When you finally do get it though, a couple things happen. You're gonna launch yourself pretty high up onto an invisible wall. Then you climb up on the roof. You'll then fall onto a smaller roof. Then you pull up on that roof and then pull up on the big roof. And then you're out of bounds. Once you're out of bounds, you actually jump over to a truck and out. You can go that way to the left, or you can go that way to the right. And enjoy a few sights. Like I said, I am going to make a hiking video, if you will, of the out of bounds areas. So look forward to that if you can't or don't have a system to do so. But check out a few sites. For the shallows, there's going to be a corner of the map across from the blue house. It's got like a soft spot, so when you just push yourself in and no zombies can get you. You'll climb up and there'll be a white truck, and you kind of stay close to you hug the white truck, you grab the roof, and you're up and you're out. And once again, this one is however a little different because there's a big invisible wall. When you jump down and try to go further out, it's blocked off. But there's still a few things to check out, so enjoy again. few of the sites. The blue house is really easy to climb up. Climb up the pipe and pull yourself up. Now the pipes, like pulling yourself up to the roof, it can be slightly difficult the first couple of times, but after a while, pretty much every roof that has one you can. It's not much to do, but it is fun to take a look at all the views. Memorial Lane does not have any out of bounds that I have found, or anyone else has found yet. It's not saying it's impossible, it just hasn't been found yet. Memorial Lane's a little bit different. You have to actually get your hand all the way on top of the pipe, and then almost like pull your body away from the pipe while holding onto it, and put your arm up, and you'll launch yourself up to the roof. And again, it's just really cool to check out the sites, so this one is, take a look around. And you can see even the tower in most levels. This terrible grab. I was convinced this was how to get out of bounds. I was at it for hours, and I do not suggest trying it. It is mind-numbing. But this is the only other place you can climb up, and it almost, it's too good to be true. That's the problem. Too good to be true. I hate you! Not you guys, or the one person watching, but this stupid climb. So if you crouch and then push off the roof as shown, there's actually a giant invisible box you just get to hang out on top of and you're levitating. This would be the time to put in the song, but that ain't gonna happen. YouTube will get me. Finally. I'm coming to meet you, Henri and Glenn and everybody else. So beautiful and bright. Now this one was found entirely by accident. I was recording one for my other parts of my video for my challenge. I threw the pump into the air, dropped it, and immediately teleported back here, and nothing. It's not there anymore. And that's it. I had to reload the level. Now this one I am the most excited about. Now I've been able to get out of bounds on the other levels for a long time, and there's a few that are just still seemingly impossible. Rampart was one of them. Until I found that the trash cans, by the way, are broken in this game. You can just hop on them anytime you want. And I found out there's one close by, and just so happens a soft spot on the roof. Those arms in the air are actually just me excited that I did it. So take in a few sights and some interesting textures and things. One place kind of looks like a Tim Burton movie. If you're familiar, you might notice it. And I'm really excited for, in a couple seconds, you'll see something really cool. Of course, you fall infinitely, but much slower, and you can see everything. What's strange is there's two things. One, there's actually a freight boat, like a cargo boat. Never seen it at all before. Don't know why it's there. I would like to know what the point of that was. And it's just weirdly beautiful. And at long last, if you ever wanted to know what the front of the school looked like, there it is. This is the actual front of the school, and a lot of it is rendered and a lot of it is detailed. This part of the map looks like it was definitely going to be used and added. There's even like a little outpost that people would camp out on. There's actually cots in the front, and there's even written text on the building. So they clearly, from what I can understand, the game intended to use it but didn't. And you can even look under the building a little bit, and you can actually see where Kenneth is, and you can even see where the building would be, but there's nothing there, unfortunately, to get into. And then, while running around, I did notice another room and a couple of doors, and I was curious, and you can actually just force your way in. It just happens to be another part of the scariest place in the entire game that you can see from in there. Ah, Bastion, the most challenging out of bounds possible. There's no way you can do it. You need special tools, and the wall is not there. So, there is, however, an invisible wall, kind of like blocking off most of the out of bounds areas, so I guess there is that. But what you can do is, when you find your way down and around, and out, I'm just showing off a little more of the map than I need to get to show you out of bounds. But, you know, a little bit more is not too bad. When you get down there, you won't fall forever. You'll land, and when you're under there, you cannot kill anything because for some reason this place has the most locked down flooring. And then you will also find the Axeman's lair, and they put some heavy, and I mean heavy, walls around it to stop you from getting in there. I'm still on the hunt to try to get in there, but you know, you can climb on the wall, you can climb on the ceiling, you can even reach your hands in there just a little bit and grab the ladder, and when you do, the music changes just a little bit. You can even climb up the ladder slightly, but you can't pull your body through. They wanted to make sure that you cannot get in there. Hopefully, somebody in our community will be able to get in there, because that'd be awesome. Or if you want to try, go for it, please. The rooftop in Bastion is easy to climb on top of, but because of the invisible walls underneath the ground, which we just showed, it is a little tricky to navigate. So when you get up there, you will kind of slide over and you'll find a spot crouched on the roof. You'll push off and you'll go up on top of the roof. And someone's there to say hi. Hello. She's totally into me. For the ward, it might be one of the easier ways to get out of bounds too. And check out a lot of things here too. It's got a lot of detail into it here as well. A lot of buildings in the map. You can go far without falling out. You literally just have to grab the framework on the door and grab on top of the roof, and then you're out. Ta-da! I will show you a few things and check out a few of the sites. And if you ever wanted to see the bridge, a significant amount of it actually is detailed. Even the cars on top have some details in them, so I still think some of these ideas were going to be used that never did. And maybe they'll make it into the sequel, which I'm very excited to play and make some content for. Now, Bywater was one of the last ones that I discovered, so I'm still kind of working on a part of it. And but this is how you do it. You climb on top of the railing, you walk up the railing, and then the pipe you'll be able to stand on. And for me, it was easier to kind of push myself into the wall a little bit, and then you reach up and try to grab it. You want to keep your body away from underneath it, and also have your hand like on the top right. And you kind of keep pulling. You're gonna fall a couple of times, and this took me this one takes me a couple of tries to do. And when you finally pull up, you'll launch yourself up and out. You grab the building on the left and go over. I've tried other places, it doesn't go anywhere. You have to grab the building on top over there, and then you'll see a little awning. And I sped this up because there was a lot to see, and I hope you enjoy a few of the things that I had found. Almost no asset will float in the void, and almost none of it is by itself, but our Lord and Savior, the dumpster is. Look at it, it just floats there, in the light. Praise be the dumpster. Ah, I love you. And I'm out. This is kind of a funny little glitch at the level where you talk to the, I call them Romeo and Romeo, when you give them the letter, but if you get the key doing the speedrunning strategy, which I'm going to make a speedrunning video, so keep an eye out for that, he tries to give you a key, but it's not there because you already have it in your pocket. So he will just stand there forever. He won't even say anything anymore. But ta-da! I implore you to not question how this came to be, or why it is what it is. I don't even know how I found it, or why I did it again. But if you physically move in real life, there are no barriers to keep you in front of the title menu. You can physically walk back and forth as long as you turn your camera around, and you can walk in this map all the way to out of bounds. Now, you won't see it in this video because I just wanted to show the blue house, and you will see it. Please skip around. I fast forwarded it very quickly. It takes a long time. It's kind of embarrassing, but hopefully you think it's interesting. And you can even walk in the building. But yeah, you can even go the other way too. And all you have to do is press the button to change your height, and you will instantly teleport back to the title, to the menu. So don't do it. It's so boring, but it's kind of interesting, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. It took me 4 months. It took me having to work even when I was recovering from surgery, and I'm back on my feet to make more. I hope you try all these out of bounds, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.